electronic devices. In the previous lecture, we have studied about drift and diffusion currents, the concept of resistance and resistivity, effects of temperature and doping on mobility, and we have also seen the scattering types, that is lattice scattering and impurity scattering, followed by Hall effect. The learning objective of today's lecture is understanding p-n junction formation, depletion region formation, Fermi energy level, qualitative current flow through the p-n junction, forward and reverse biased junctions. Right. So coming to the depletion region, when a depletion region is formed, actually, whenever see we have something called as a p-type material and we have n-type material, right? And whenever we just bring p-type material in contact with the n-type material, at that instant itself depletion region is formed. So here I have taken an example of boron, and here I have taken the example of arsenic, which is pentavalent and boron is trivalent. So this figure, what you are seeing here, right? So from this point to this point, we have the dashed lines here, right? So this is the weave of depletion region only. So we are into the depletion region. We are seeing what happens actually in the depletion region. So we all know that depletion region means it is something like a barrier for the flow of current, right? So why it is like a barrier, why it is obstructing the current and so on, we'll study now. So basically what happens, as soon as the p-type material and n-type material, they are brought together, right? So what happens in p-type material, we have the majority carriers as holes, right? So the holes are the majority carriers. So what holes they will do is they will try to jump from p-type material to the n-type material. Why that is happening? It is happening because of the difference in concentration gradient. I have said you what do you mean by concentration gradient is actually the difference of the number. See how many holes will be here? There will be too many holes, right? How many holes will be present on the n-type material? There will be very less number of holes. So this difference itself is called as concentration gradient, and because there are very few holes on the other side, right? The holes they try to move towards the n-type material. This type of current or this type of moment we have called it as diffusion, and the current caused due to this is diffusion current. Here it is written, it is diffusion, and the same case is with the electron also. Electron from n-type material they will try to go to the p-type material, right? Now what we have seen, the holes they are moving towards the n-type material and the electrons they are moving towards the p-type material. But what is happening to this atom boron? It is bounded with the silicon atoms. Nearby we are seeing that there are silicon atoms, right? And whatever I'm showing here is it is nothing but covalent bond, right? So some bonding is there with the boron atom, and as soon as the hole is moving towards the n-type material, a hole is moving there. That means we can say that it is developing some charge across it, right? It is developing some charge across it. Or what we can say, how can you say that hole has moved from boron towards the n-type material? How we can say, actually what happens is when any electron it comes and sits here, right? Then what we say, the boron has become stable, right? It has accepted one electron and we have the covalent bonds, right? So because it has accepted one electron, a negative charge develops across it, and as soon as the electron is accepted by the boron, it becomes an ion, right? It becomes an ion and it is immobile. It doesn't move actually, right? So when we say that electron has jumped from this side to near to the boron, then we can assume that the hole which was present here, the vacancy which was present here, it has jumped to that place from where the electron has come, right? So the same case is with the n-type material also. Here we have excess electrons, right? Whenever the excess electron, it will diffuse on the other side, right? Whenever it is diffusing towards the p-type material, what we say, the arsenic has lost an electron, or in other words, we can say that the arsenic has donated one electron. And whenever we say that arsenic has donated an electron, a positive charge develop across it, and it is called as positively charged ion, right? And to be very clear, ions are immobile, they can't move. Why? Because they are already bounded, they are bounded by the surrounding silicon atoms, right? So what we are seeing here in the depletion region is, I have taken the example of only one boron and one arsenic, right? There are so many arsenic ions, ions in the sense immobile arsenic ions. There are so many boron immobile ions, right? So when we say they are immobile, then we say that the conductivity, it is very less, or there is something called as obstruction. When we say immobile, right, immobile things are present in depletion region, then we can say that the conductivity, it is very poor in the depletion region, so it is acting like a resistance for the current flow, right? What this case which I have explained just now, it is under no electric field, like no any voltage is given, okay? Just I have connected p type and n type material, just both the materials are brought together, that's it. Nothing, no voltage is applied, right? In this case, these are the things happening, and because all the ions, they are coming here in this region, right, which are immobile, the ions are immobile, hence it forms the depletion region, right? So we have seen how depletion region is formed, why it acts like a resistance, what is happening actually inside the depletion region. Moving further, so what we have here is p-n junction at equilibrium, right? We have p-n junction at equilibrium. Now what is equilibrium? To understand that equilibrium, we have to understand some currents in the material, right? So what we have seen in the previous slide is difference in carrier concentration, it results in diffusion, right? So here the blue color dots, they represent the electrons, the white color dots, they represent the holes, right? And the red color dots, they are positively charged arsenic ions, immobile ions. Again, the black color dots, they are also negatively charged immobile boron ions, right? And this region is nothing but depletion region. Now here we are seeing a positive charge is developed, right, across every arsenic ion. Here negative charge is developed across every boron ion, right? And what we are seeing, we have already seen that the holes from the p type, right, the holes from the p type material, they just try to move towards the n type material, and the electrons from n type material, they just try to move towards the p type material. So this diffusion, we know it, right? So what we are seeing here, we have seen the diffusion currents, right? Diffusion current due to holes, diffusion current due to the electrons. Now there is one more current in the depletion region, right? Why that is happening now? There, the other type of current is nothing but it is drift current, right? now we know that what is drift current. Drift current, what is the main cause of drift current? If some voltage exists, then due to effect of that voltage or that electric field, the current will start flowing, right? But now I have not given any voltage externally, right? This connection, it is not done, right? It is not at all connected. Any external voltage is not given, but still I am saying that the drift current exists here. Why the drift current is existing? So what we are seeing here is we have something called as positive ions, positive arsenic ions, red color, and the black color are the boron ions, right? This side, and all are negatively charged, or like these are having negative charge on them, right? And what we are seeing here on the right hand side, in this region, in this total region, we have positive charge, and in this total region, black color dots region, we have all negative charges, right? So this itself is acting like some potential, right? Some electric field is developed here itself. We have positive, we have negative. So inside the depletion region itself, we are seeing some potential is developed. That potential is called as inbuilt potential or cut-in potential, right? There are different names. So inbuilt potential is there by naturally, right? Whenever the PN junction is formed, the inbuilt potential, it is developed. Why? Because of this positive charged ions and negatively charged ions, right? So because of this potential internally developed or inbuilt potential, right, there will be some flow of drift current, right? Drift current. And we are seeing a term called as equilibrium. That means in equilibrium, what do you mean by equilibrium is everything is has become stable, right? So when the things will be stable, the things will be stable when the drift current and the diffusion current, they are equal and opposite. They are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. Then they just cancel each other, right? So whenever these things are happening here, the diffusion current and drift current, they just cancel each other. They first become equal, and no doubt they are opposite in direction. Why they are opposite in direction is, you can see here, the electrons, they are moving in this direction from right hand side to the left hand side, right? But what is happening here? Or okay, I'll take the example of holes, right? Why? Because we take the convention of current direction as hole direction. So what is happening, from p type material, all the holes, they are moving towards n type material, right? So I can write the diffusion current is from left hand side to the right hand side. Yes, the diffusion current, I'll write di double f, I di double f. So that is nothing but uh, diffusion current, right? Diffusion current is moving from left hand side to the right hand side, or always what we take conventionally, always current flows from positive to negative. So here p type material is there, so current is flowing from this positive towards this negative, right? In the same way, inside the depletion region, what we are having? We are having positive at this side and negative at this side, right? So the current will flow in this direction due to electric field from positive to negative again. Yes, this is positive and this is negative, right? So this is negative, this is positive. So again, this current is opposite to this current, right? So drift current is opposite to the diffusion current, and when drift current and diffusion current, they become equal, no doubt they are opposite in direction. When they become equal, then we say that they are cancelling each other, and that condition is called as equilibrium. I hope I am very clear. And the electrons, they just whatever I have said, I am repeating again. Electrons diffuse from n to p, holes diffuse from p to n, correct? The diffusion creates imbalance of charge, which results in electric field pointed from n to p. Yes, and an opposite drift current is resulted by that phenomenon. Yes, and at equilibrium, drift current and diffusion currents for holes and electrons, they sum to zero. That is, they cancel each other. And here it is shown drift current direction, the diffusion current direction, they are opposite, right? And here also through the equation we can analyze diffusion plus drift. It will become zero. Why? Because they are opposite in direction and equal in magnitude, right? The n due to n also and due to p also. That is due to electrons and holes, right? So those things will be nullified. So this what we have studied here is at equilibrium how the p-n junction is behaving, how the p-n junction is behaving at equilibrium, right? So moving further, okay. So before I come to this concept, let me tell you what do I mean by Fermi level actually. So here we are coming across a term called as Fermi level, right? Or Fermi energy level. It is also called as Fermi energy level. In very short concept, in very short sentence, what we can understand about Fermi energy level is it is nothing but probability of finding a charge carrier or precisely an electron, right? Fermi level or Fermi energy level, it is probability of finding electron in the energy band diagram, right? So this is conduction band, this is a valence band, right? Here what we have, the energy band gap exists between these two, correct? And in the p-type material, the probability of electron is nearer to the valence band. Why? Because holes are the majority carriers. It is very simple. Holes are the majority carriers, right? So maximum holes they will be combined with the electrons, right? And holes itself will be moving here, right? So maximum probability of finding the electrons in p-type material is nearer to the valence band. What about n-type material? In n-type material, the electrons are the majority carriers, right? And if all the holes they are say combined with the electrons, right? Still few electrons will be free, and those free electrons will be having a tendency to move towards the conduction band as soon as they get some energy, right? So maximum probability of finding an electron in n-type material is near to the conduction band. Why? Because electrons are the majority carriers, right? So this thing is very clear. So what the dotted line, the dashed line is indicating, it is indicating the Fermi energy level. What is Fermi energy level? Fermi energy level is nothing but probability of finding the electron. Probability of finding the electron. So in p-type material, probability of finding the electron is nearer to the valence band, and in n-type material, probability of finding the electron is nearer to the conduction band, right? So this thing is clear, I hope. Next, we have some rule at equilibrium. No discontinuity or slope can appear in the Fermi energy level. What this is saying is, say here, before contact, you are seeing a word here, before contact, means the n-type and p-type material, they are not joined here. They are not at all joined, right? They are separate, right? And separate, when they are separate, we are showing where is the Fermi energy level in p-type and where is the Fermi energy level in n-type. Now, whenever we join the p-type with the n-type, right? Whenever we join the p-type with the n-type, or when they come in contact, an equilibrium will be developed. We have seen that in the previous slide, an equilibrium will be developed, and no discontinuity or slope. What do you mean by discontinuity? No break in the in between, or no slope. What do you mean by slope is, say I am coming here, I am just coming down and again continuing, right? So this is called slope. So no slope or no discontinuity is allowed in the Fermi energy level in equilibrium. When the equilibrium comes, when p-n junction is formed, right? So after contact means when p and n junctions they are formed, right? The rule is saying that this energy level, Fermi energy level, or the probability of finding the electrons, it cannot be discontinued, or we can't have a gap here. Neither it can be bent, right? Whenever it bends down, we say that a slope is formed, right? Whenever if the Fermi energy level is coming like this, and if it is bending again, continuing, then we can say that slope is formed, right? So this rule is saying that there should not be any discontinuity, nor there should be any slope whenever any two materials are combined and whenever they come into the condition of equilibrium, right? Therefore, the other bands, which are the other bands? The other bands are nothing but the conduction band and the valence band. So the other bands, they have to bend. There is no any option now. See, when this has to be straight, this is very simple rule. This has to be straight, right? And when this has to be straight, obviously we need to bend this part. How we will see in the next slide, right? How to draw that actually we will see in the next slide. So what we are coming, the concept here, we are coming across something called as band bending, right? We will see how to draw it actually. So how to draw the energy band diagram. So what we are doing, I said as soon as there is equilibrium, right, there should not be any discontinuity or slope, right? Therefore, what we will do, we will first draw the discontinued, not discontinued, a continued or a slopeless Fermi level. So I have first drawn this slopeless and continued Fermi level. So rule 1, it is followed here. Next what we are doing, we are drawing p-type on the left hand side, right? What is this p-type? P-type means we are drawing the conduction band and the valence band for p-type material. And similarly, see, first I have drawn the straight Fermi energy level. Next I have drawn the bands, conduction band and valence band for the p-type. And next what I have drawn the conduction band and valence band for the n-type material. And we have already seen, what we have seen in n-type material, the Fermi energy level is very close to the conduction band. Hence, the conduction band is drawn here. I can't draw the conduction band here. No, it is not allowed. Why? Because in n-type material, conduction band is nearer to the Fermi energy level, right? So it is very near. Neither I can shift this part, right? This part can't be shifted below. Why? Because the valence band should be very near to the Fermi energy level in p-type material, right? And the next step is to draw the n-type on the right hand side, right? This is drawn. So going further, so when both the bands are drawn for both the materials, p-type and n-type, then we have an option only to join them. And how to join them? There should be some slope. We don't have any other way. So connect EC to EC. Yes, this is EC for the n-type material and this is EC for the p-type material. We have to connect them. Why we have to connect them? Because there is they are already connected, right? P and N, they are already connected. And similarly, the EV also we need to connect it, but there is no bending or any discontinuity in the energy Fermi energy level. This rule we are following, right? So the bands must be continuous. Yes, this is also one rule. I can't say that I'll just not connect these parts. No, this is not allowed. Band should be continuous. It can be bended, right? But this can't be bended. So what we are doing, we are just bending the bands, right? And this concept is called as band bending. right? So what we are studying here, we are studying energy band diagram, how to draw the energy band diagram at equilibrium, right? So moving further, okay, now we know that the electrons are majority carriers in the n-type material and the holes are the majority carriers in the p-type material. And we have what is happening actually. We have seen that diffusion is happening, right? Diffusion is happening from n-type to p-type. Electrons are moving from n-type to p-type. Holes are moving from p-type to n-type, correct? So hole, if it wants to jump from go from p-type to n-type, it has to go through this one, right? Or in other way, what can I say is, if I take the minority carrier, if I take minority carrier here, right? Hole is the minority carrier in n-type, then hole has to move towards left hand side. Yes, it has to climb the slope. And in the other way, if the minority carrier, if I take in p type as electron, it has to jump from this energy level to this energy level if it wants to come from p type to n type, right? So this is just the representation of transition. Electrons how they have to move and holes how they have to move, right? So the here we find some rules again. The slope of the band diagram is proportional to the electric field. Means this slope of the band diagram, it is proportional to the electric field, right? As E varies, the slope also varies. Whole electron concentration, right? The closer EF is to EV, the higher is the hole concentration. So this is EF, yes, and if EF it is very close to this EV, then we can say the holes are too many in number. And the same case is with the electron also. If the EF it is very close to EC, then we can say that there are so many electrons, right? The concentration of electrons is very high, correct? So diffusion current, next coming to diffusion current. Diffusion current always it is from higher concentration to the lower concentration. Yes, we have already seen that the PN junction has energy barrier which limits diffusion current, right? So what do you mean by that energy barrier? Energy barrier, in other words, you can say it as the depletion region itself. Or here we are seeing a, a slope, and this slope is actually indicating the depletion region itself, right? The depletion region, why? Because if an electron wants to come from this side to this side, it has to gain some energy. Or if a hole, if it wants to again come this side, this slope is acting something like a barrier, right? If we are traveling, I'll take an analogy. If we are traveling through a vehicle, right, in this direction, whenever we see a slope, our whenever we just take our vehicle across the slope, the speed will be decreased, right? So that slope itself is acting like a barrier. And coming to drift current, the electrons drift down the slope and holes drift up the slope, right? So these electrons, when we take the example of minority carriers, they just drift down, and the holes they just drift up. Yes. Why I am taking minority carriers is why? Because we are seeing here drift. The drift current. Why the drift current is happening? We have already seen. Drift current is inside the depletion region. So drift current it is shown only in the slope region, right? Here we can't represent drift current. There is no drift current here. Okay, so only the drift current is present. It is visualized in the depletion region. And the energy barrier, it determines the built-in potential. What do you mean by built-in potential? Just now I had said the concept of built-in potential. The potential which is already built in due to the electric field, Why electric field? Why electric field is formed? Why? Because we have ions, immobile ions in the depletion region, right? And the distance EV tells you the built-in potential in volts. The distance in electron volts tells you the built-in potential in volts. So what we are concluding here, the conclusion in this slide is the slope is representing the depletion region, yes, and the drift, electrons are drifting down the slope, holes are drifting up the slope. How about diffusion current? Always diffusion current is from higher potential to higher concentration gradient to lower concentration gradient. And there is something called as energy barrier, that itself is the slope, and that itself is the depletion region, which is limiting the diffusion current, right? So all these things are happening inside the PN junction. We know what is PN junction and all, but we are studying in depth concept what happens in the PN junction at equilibrium, right? At equilibrium, in the sense, again I am repeating that we have not at all given any voltage to the PN junction. Okay, so moving further, let us conclude this session with some conclusion. What is generation actually? So generation, holes or electron, how they are generated. So this is the summary of a few classes. How electrons and holes they are generated. It is generated either thermally or some due to some ultimately what we can say is whenever the electron or hole they gain the energy, right, they are generated. How? If any electron, if it is moving from valence band to the conduction band, then we can say that this electron is free to move, and we say that it is generated, right? Actually it is free to move, right? And when the electron is moving from valence band to conduction band, we can definitely say that the hole is generated, right? So we know how the generation happens. Generation happens due to some energy occupied by the electrons, right? Whenever an electron occupies some energy and shifts its energy level, then electron and hole they are generated, right? What is drift current? The electron or hole, whenever it is moving due to some electric field, due to some force, it is called as drift current. What is diffusion current? Electron or hole which is moving due to concentration gradient, right? Difference in concentration gradient, then we can say that diffusion current exists. And what is recombination? After some time, right, some 5 seconds or 10 seconds, for example, electron and hole, if they recombine, like this, and this electron, if it loses some energy and again comes back to the valence band, then this electron is joining with the hole, or the hole is disappearing, right? This process is called as recombination. This process occurs repeatedly, yes, frequently, one after the other. All there are so many electrons, there are so many holes. All these holes and electrons are just doing these things only. Some are drifting, some are involved in diffusion current, some are being generated, some are being recombined. That's it, right? So this process is occurring repeatedly for all the electrons and holes in the material. This is one summary. And what did I say? Some 5 seconds or 10 seconds, right? So it is called as carrier lifetime. So the carrier lifetime, it can be defined like average time between the generation and the recombination. You can just take an analogy. If there is generation, we can say that the whole electron has been given birth. And whenever there is recombination, what we can say, that the electron or hole, they have died. Okay, just for a simple analogy. And the time gap between generation and recombination, we can say that the lifespan of the electron or hole was that the carrier lifetime, right? It has been alive, or it was alive for these many seconds or this much time. That time between the generation and recombination, the birth and death, right? It is called as carrier lifetime. So here we have understood, we need to just remember a few of the things, and we have understood too many things here, right? So here we are satisfying the level 2, that is understanding in Bloom's level taxonomy. So thank you for your patience watching.
You, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sure.